it says you have to carry whatever insurance it is that's required. We Uber, we Lyft, don't know. It is your responsibility, and it is an express condition of our coverage and of our responsibility to the driver being Uber and Lyft, that you have the appropriate coverage. And if you have a question, ask your agent. That's what it says.
So if I'm a driver for either of those companies, and I want to go pick up a fare, I only have personal insurance coverage on my vehicle. When I accept the ride or the person to pick up by hitting my response, am I now covered under Uber or Lyft's commercial excess policy?
Under Lyft's policy, not until the passenger gets in the vehicle, even with an excess policy. Under Uber's, once you accept that passenger and your vehicle is en route to that
Motion to
passenger.
extend.
Motion carries.
So if I'm a driver and I accept it, and on the way to pick up the fare, I run over a child, what policy takes place?
No coverage under the individual policy. Under the Uber excess policy, if you are actually accepting the trip and you're en route, it is a contingent excess policy that could come into effect if none of the other contingencies, like the fact the driver is supposed to have the appropriate insurance and the driver has to have the required licenses, if all those contingencies are met, once it's either adjudicated filing in court or, as you indicated, if James River happens to agree, then yes, they could have coverage after they accept the trip. But the most dangerous part of transportation is while drivers are looking for the next trip, not while the passenger's in the car.
And my last question, is there a are you aware that there is presently a lawsuit in California that follows this course of action where a child was hit by a vehicle and a driver was on their way to pick up the passenger or the applicant? Motion to extend.
Favoring, opposed, motion carries.
There are multiple lawsuits, in the particular one you may be talking about, the Sophia Loop case. That driver was looking for the next trip, that he had not yet accepted it, and so Uber denied coverage, and that is quoted, their pleadings are quoted also in this book as to how they denied coverage, because they said, well, at that point, we have not yet accepted the trip, and it becomes a nightmare to try to prove whether it has been accepted or not accepted while they're driving around, circling, swarming the hotspots, trying to find the next fare.
Thank you.
Councilman Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor. Sir, just stipulating the points that you've made about the coverage in place, how is what you are arguing different than a motorist on the streets that has no insurance? Because I think you're saying that until that operator switches to a service request mode or an availability mode, that is the point where your argument is that they don't have coverage. But isn't that just like any other driver on the street without coverage? Because at that point, there's not a passenger liability issue.
Okay.
Second. Favoring, opposed, motion carries.
Councilman, I agree. It is exactly the same as someone operating a vehicle without insurance.
And Houston does very little about that.
Well, at the regulatory level or at the enforcement level?
Both.
Right now, there's not a whole lot being done.
Right. So you're making a point that's arguing even deeper into an area that's not complex, but Houston has made a decision not to do very much about. I want to make sure I have that point clear as to what you were propping your points on.
So there is a complete lack of coverage. Houston has an ordinance, but apparently at the moment it's not being enforced.
Thank you, County. Thank you.
Councilman Boykins.
Sir, this is really interesting to me. We've had many meetings and presentations, and this is the first I've heard of this. And my question to you, is this just your personal opinion, or you have facts to back all this?
Councilman Burke, I have a book with the Uber policy.
Okay, but motion to extend. I don't have a lot of time. Just a yes or no.
Okay, 1 second, hold on. Is there a second? Favoring, opposed, motion carries.
Just your yes or no. Just your personal opinion, or you have facts to back?
Yes, I have.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, is Tina, the chairman, the president, director of NRA, can we get her to come up to verify what he's saying? If he has facts on this? Or better yet, Mr. Black.
I indicated yesterday that department staff, this is for the public today, so we
take their input today, and tomorrow if there's any pending questions. we
But
can ask
the reason I'm
them.
asking, thank you, Mr. Chairman, the reason, or even Mr. Black, is someone verify what you're saying, because I'm getting a mixed message here. I mean, he's almost gutting that the company has zero insurance to a certain degree.
Well, I'm sure there'll be representatives from both sides coming up here shortly, so I'm sure that we'll have an opportunity to hear from both sides.
And then-
Sir, this is his time, so he didn't have a specific question.
Yeah, no, what I was trying to get was that your opinion, or did you have facts?
It's my opinion, backed by the documents, and if someone else is contradicted,
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Al.